So people often ask me about miso, and miso is one of these amazing ingredients that you can use in a whole foods diet. Miso is full of enzymes, which are really beneficial for your gut bacteria. So there are different types of miso, different qualities of miso. Now I would always recommend that you try and find a miso that is organic and unpasteurized. I like to use the Kawari brand, which I can get locally at my supermarket and Whole Foods bulk store. You might find some other brands. I know Spiral Foods have a brand as well, or I think it's also called Miso. But try and find one that is organic and unpasteurized. Basically that means it hasn't been denatured in any way, and it's going to have that living enzymes and bacteria which are really good for your gut and digestion. So there are different types of miso as well as qualities. So you might find if you go to an Asian supermarket, there'll be different types of miso, and just really check the ingredients, because firstly, some of those ingredients may be listed in, Chinese or Japanese and you can't read it. There should be a little panel with a sticker that the importer has put on which lists all those different ingredients. And if you see it's got any, numbers in it, put it back. Any preservatives in it, put it back. Do not buy it, okay? You want the stuff that's pretty natural and just straight up miso. So these two that I've got here, one's a red miso and one is a white miso. Both of them, their ingredients are organic soybeans, organic rice, and sea salt. Okay, so the rice is, they use a koji, which is a rice that has been, it's got like a ferment in it, which helps with the creation of the miso. They use koji to make sake as well, so Japanese rice wine. So it's a really, really cool product to use to create fermented foods. So as you can see, we've got a dark and a light. This is the white miso, like I said. That's generally because it's been fermented for a shorter period of time, and the darker one generally is fermented for a bit longer. Miso can also be made out of other grains, so soybeans, like I said, and a rice, you will get this type. There's also one that's made with barley, which is called mugi miso, I think. A brown rice miso is traditionally called genmai miso. And there's also a really dark variety called hacho miso, which I think is just soybean based but fermented for a very long time, and it's really good in cold climates. So if you live in the mountains where it gets snowy or really cold over winter, then maybe you can find some hacho miso and use that in those colder periods of time. So what are they good for? White miso, more summery type of miso, so use it in soups as a seasoning. You could just make miso soup, or you can add it to any other soup to give it that salty umami flavor. The darker miso more in the cooler months. I like to use mainly the red or brown rice miso throughout the year, it doesn't really bother me. And this one on special occasions or really hot days, and sometimes in desserts. So if you've ever seen an episode of like MasterChef where they've made like a miso caramel, and this is probably the white miso that they've used to make that, okay, because it's just a bit lighter, a bit sweeter, and you can use it in a variety of different desserts. I haven't experimented too much with it. I just really like to keep it simple, use it in sauces as well. So this darker red miso I would use in sauces when I'm cooking to give it that extra salty punch. Also you could make a marinade with it, so some miso, some shoyu, mirin, maybe some grated ginger and some garlic, and you can make a lovely sauce. You can even add a bit of sweetener like some rice syrup or a dash of maple syrup to that, and you get this lovely marinade. It's kind of like a teriyaki sauce, and you could marinate, whatever you like in it, tofu, even chicken and things like that, and then obviously cook it, and it makes a really nice gravy or sauce. There are other types of miso, for instance, Kawari, the miso that I get, also does a instant miso soup. Now the difference between an instant miso and the straight up miso is that this has been dehydrated and this is still a living organism. So really important to note that this product shouldn't be stored in the fridge unless it's really hot weather. It can grow a bit of mold on it on a hot day. So try to keep it out of the fridge because it is a living organism. I usually just keep it in my pantry or even next to my stove because I use it nearly every day, just a little bit. And I guess what's important to remember is that also if you can store it in a ceramic container or a glass container with a non-metal lid, that would be ideal. I don't have anything I can actually show you at the moment, but sometimes if you keep it stored in the plastic too long, it can absorb some of the elements out of the plastic, so not ideal. So instant miso isn't too bad. Again, look for the numbers on the back if there are any numbers, and you know, MSG I think is 631 or 621, I can't quite remember. Try and avoid ones with numbers in it. Alright, so there's my timer. If you have any questions about miso, please post a comment or a question below. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And yeah, thank you for watching. My name is Leia. I am a yoga teacher. I'm also a whole foods enthusiast. I've been cooking with whole foods for quite a number of years, and it's a passion of mine. So I'm grateful that you're interested in learning about this topic with me. All right, I'll see you in another video soon. Bye for now.